Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Unscripted Table Talk. Today we have a special guest, Amina Mohamed, photographer, philanthropist, and she has some interesting things to tell us today
I hope
about
so.
some photo tours and some other stuff. Amina does photo tours in Uganda, specifically for young women and women, teaching them how to use a camera, raising awareness, amongst other things. So she owns Triple F Photo Tours.
Correct.
It's a non-profit organization.
Actually, Triple F Photo Tours is the for-profit.
It's a for-profit.
Yeah, but the for-profit
Yeah.
is the Cameras for Girls Uganda.
Cameras for Girls
So
Uganda.
it runs underneath it.
Okay, so like an umbrella, and then
Yeah.
Okay. So give us a bit of your background.
Sure.
Yeah.
So 47 years ago, actually yesterday, my family and I landed in Canada as immigrants.
Okay.
We were, like many other Indian Asians, exiled from Uganda under Idi Amin's rule. And growing up, we lived in St. Catharines when we came. Growing up, I always wondered what it would be like to be living in Uganda. If anybody had asked me, because I was born in England, my parents, my sister were born in Uganda, but I was born in England.
Okay.
I'd always say, I'm Ugandan.
All right.
And they'd be like, but how does that work?
Yeah.
And I was the only one out of my family who ever had the desire to go back. For my parents, it's too hard to see what they left behind.
Yeah.
So in 2007, I was working in the film and television industry, and I decided to film, direct, and shoot a documentary on the return of the Asians that were coming back, because the president had said, come back, get your properties that you had left behind, come start over, help rebuild the country.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to those Asians and see, but it was always also a chance for me to go back.
Okay.
So I did it,
Yeah.
succeeded, everything was great, but what hit me the hardest was the poverty, obviously,
Yeah.
but also seeing girls and the difference between how boys are treated and how girls are treated, and the opportunities that were not afforded to girls but that were afforded to boys. And education in Uganda is not free. So a family, the church is heavily involved there. They will tell families, have kids, it's wealth, go out, have kids. How do you feed, clothe, educate your kids, though? They don't teach you that. They don't talk about that.
Okay.
So if a family has a choice, they're going to educate the boy
Yeah.
over the girl, because the girl is going to be taking care of the younger siblings, the household, or whatever it takes.
Is it still that way today?
It's getting a little bit better,
Yeah.
but it also depends on the wealth of the family. Can they afford to send their girls to school? So
In terms of wealth,
Yeah.
we're in Canada. The ratio is different in terms of wealth and whatnot. Like, how does Uganda compare? Do they have like jobs? Do they have how do they sustain?
It's high unemployment rate. Like
Okay.
we talk about unemployment rate being 5 or 6%,
Yeah.
right? And we're like, oh my God. There, it's anywhere between 50 and 65% in a given year.
So how do they survive?
Very difficult to survive.
Subsistence farming.
Now,
Yeah.
a lot of farming.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then there are people who work in the city, jobs, office buildings, whatever. So you will see either very poor
Yeah.
or very
Very
well
rich.
off.
Okay.
There's hardly that middle ground. And then now you've got the new Indians coming in from India with a lot of wealth. The Chinese have come in with a lot of wealth. They're buying up a lot of things. The government is actually on the hook for, I think it's like $35 million to get the roads paved. But the Chinese are very smart because they bring their own equipment, their own people.
Yeah.
They don't, right? So that equality of wealth is shrinking all the time.
Wow. So the native people of Uganda are the ones who are suffering.
They're suffering. They always have. It's been very hard. We lost our home, but we didn't lose our lives. Over 400,000 people were executed during Idi Amin's reign, and they never called it a tragedy like they did in Rwanda. And
So
it
Idi Amin
was
was the
the
president?
president.
President then, yeah, okay.
And madman, literally, because he had syphilis.
Oh.
And everything's tribal. In
Yeah.
Uganda, you have 54 different tribes.
Oh, wow.
That's 54 different languages, dancing, like, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Okay. So
And
that's real true multiculturalism.
oh, it's amazing, right? But then there was not that many back then, but there was always the tribal warfare sort of
Okay.
thing. So he basically got rid of us because he had bankrupted the country and he needed a scapegoat. So something to blame it on. And then on the other side, it was a way to get rid of the tribes that were not in, working with him.
Okay.
So 400,000 people lost their lives. Not one Indian person was killed, though. It was very sad. But so when I went, I saw this inequality, and I knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what.
Okay.
So fast forward, I worked in film and television. I came home, I did my documentary. I didn't finish it because I ran out of money, but I got my 8 minutes, right, of fame. And then I left the film and television industry in 2009. It was like I was burnt out. We were adopting a lot of change in my life.
Okay.
So I went and changed completely, and I started working in real estate. So
Okay.
first I started working as a home stager, and then I got into real estate investing, and I ended up as a mortgage broker.
Okay.
So I did that for 5 years. I loved it. I was really good at it.
Yeah.
But there was that point where I kept on saying, I need to get back into what I'm passionate about. And I was coming up to 50.
Yeah.
So literally, August 2017, I wake my husband up. I'm like, hey, I know what I'm going to do. Like 2 o'clock in the morning. I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And he's like, oh my God, here we go again. Right? Literally. He turns around and goes to sleep. I said, no, I'm serious. I'm going to go back and I'm going to train girls in photography.
Okay.
So it wasn't as easy as I thought. And I also thought, oh, I'm going to do photo tours. I must be the only one with this idea. No. But I also knew that if I was going to leave a very lucrative career to do something like this, it had to mean something.
Right.
So I wasn't going to only do photo tours. It had to be a ways and a means to get to the end goal, which is changing the lives of girls.
Right.
So first I thought I will just go and train girls like any girl.
Right.
Challenge was, back as I mentioned, parents couldn't afford to send their girls to school, or they weren't showing up on a frequent basis because they couldn't get to school, or the school didn't have power because there was no electricity. So I kept on hitting roadblocks. So Venix is a friend of mine there, and we met during the time I was doing the documentary. He was my fixer.
Okay.
So we became like brother and sister. And he said to me, look, you got to train girls who are learning journalism. And I said, why would I train girls in journalism when they are journalists, or learning? They can take their own photos.
Yeah.
So unlike Canada, you get a job as a journalist, you don't have to have your own equipment. You're hooked up here with a guy who can take photos.
Okay.
Right? You write the story, your camera guy is going to come and take the pictures for you, and away you go. Your editor.
So
in Uganda, they need to own the camera, they need to know how to use it, they need to, all of the equipment, they have to come to the job with it. So I didn't know this. So when I go and I said, okay, let's try it. So we, first training, we had 15 girls.
Yeah.
And we only did 2 days because I was only able to get away for 10 days. And I didn't have anybody to get into the photo tour. So this was all out of pocket. I needed to find a way to do this, but also work within my means.
Okay.
So I collected as many cameras as I could. And I went and trained these girls over 2 days. And in hindsight, it wasn't enough because 2 days when you haven't touched a camera, not enough.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the story of Jonita.
Oh, yeah.
So Jonita was in the class of 15, and she sat there like they all did, right? They learned the British way. Don't question your teacher. Don't say anything. Just listen right? And I kept on saying to these girls, are you understanding me? If you don't understand this, put up your hand, right? They were so shy and quiet. So Jonita comes to me and says, oh, I'm really happy this, right? So I go on my merry way, and I go and do the rest of my tour in Uganda, and I come home, and she writes to me, there's an email from her in my inbox when I get home, and she says, Amina, I just want to let you know that the day after training ended, I went and showed the camera to my editor, and he hired me on the spot.
Wow.
She had a job for 3 months, was not getting published, was not getting paid because she didn't know how to use a camera and didn't own one. So as soon as he saw she could use it, and she's now getting paid 4 times minimum a week, and she's getting published, and she gets photo credits as well.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So she's not only supporting herself, she's supporting her family.
That was part of your main goal.
That's it.
To do that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there'll be others like Janita and your.
There have been already, right? Out of 32 girls in 2 trainings, we have 3 girls with full-time jobs and 2 with blogs.
Okay. And when will be your next tour? Because you just did one in June.
I just did in June. So the next one is August 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is going to, we're looking at advancing this from the current 3 days to a 5-day camp experience, because not only do the people who come on the tour get to experience like Uganda, the beauty of Uganda with the safaris and the gorillas and all that stuff, but when they come and they get to impart in the training and they get to see the impact their dollars are having, because every person who books a tour, portion of that goes to buying a camera and training the girl.
Okay.
So when they get to like not only see where their dollars are going, but to partake in the training and see how it affects a girl.
So, so people from Canada,
Canada and the
US can sign up and go
and
on
then we
this
all
tour.
travel together, and then we do the training.
Okay.
And then we go on and we see safaris, we do gorilla trekking, we do a lot of community engagement.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people just to say, "Oh, look at Pearl of Africa, it's so beautiful." It has to mean something when you go somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't just travel to places and say, "Oh, look at how beautiful," come back, resume your life, and forget about what you saw.
True.
For me, it's really important that people come, they see how people on the other side of the world truly live.
Okay. And I see here that you have Kelby One.
Yeah.
Doing a bit of involved with the thing.
Yeah. So when I started this, I went. Literally, this is what happened. So I had gone to Uganda for the first training. I had contacted this company there who said, "Oh, you know what? We're going to help you by giving you the editing space," because I wanted the girls to not only learn photography, but once a week they could go and learn editing. Yeah. So they basically didn't show up. I was in Uganda, couldn't find them, and I just happened to meet this Kenny the day before, who's a filmmaker, a photographer, and runs a filmmaking camp. Okay. So we give him a ride from where we are into Kampala, and we started talking, and I telling him what I'm doing, and he's like, "Oh my God, I could totally get involved." And before I had left, I reached out to Kelby and I said, "Look, I'm doing this in Uganda. Would you be willing to support me with a Kelby One membership so the girls can not only watch videos about photography, but also to learn editing?" Okay. They were on board. So Jean Kelby, who is Scott Kelby's wife, runs the philanthropy part of it, because she does work herself in Zambia. And so she was totally on board and now keeps on giving me licenses, 2 to 3 licenses a year every time I go.
Okay. So you said you want to upgrade editing space and whatnot.
Yeah.
So these girls have like a place they can go.
Yeah. So Kenny has his own place. He lives in the back and he teaches in the front. Okay. And this is where we trained out of last time. He was very kind enough to give us the space. Yeah. So the girls would come every day. I would trek through Kampala to get there. Yeah. And the beauty of it was that it's right where the people live. So not only did we get to do the training there, but we got to do photo walks within the community, meet people, and get incredible photos, opportunities, just that you would not get otherwise.
Which
right? So
we will see some of them on the screen.
Yeah.
Whatever. After we edit this and whatnot. So we spoke about Phoenix, your partner, in there. So currently, for the next photo tour, you have a GoFundMe page.
I do.
And I will be posting the link.
Thank you.
As well on my blog, and you'll get to see that. So far you've raised $370 for your goal of $5,000.
Right. Last year I raised 4,700.
That's great.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it helped me to purchase cameras that I needed. It helped me to upgrade to rent the space that we needed. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just giving the cameras to the girls.
Yeah.
It's all the equipment behind it. It's the training manual that has to be done. It's the space. It's the lunch that I feed, the breakfast I feed, because a lot of these girls don't have the money. In Uganda, the average Ugandan will eat one meal a day. So if I'm training them from 10 to 5 every day and they're hungry, how are they going to concentrate?
True.
Right?
That's never a good thing.
No.
Never a good thing anyway.
No.
And
so it's these small things that add up, obviously. But I would love to be able to give every girl a DSLR. But we're not at that stage.
We're not at that stage yet, and
right?
eventually,
so I
hopefully
do with
there.
what I do. Yeah.
And how do you find the response from people? Like we met this summer. We spoke.
Yep.
I'm really interesting story. That's why we're here today.
Yes.
And I wish there were more people like yourself who was doing things to make a difference, even if it's one person. Like I tell people,
one person can
smile
make a difference.
a day. You never know what your smile can impact on someone's life.
That's true.
Simple things like that.
Yep.
And we live in North America. It's expensive over here, and we tend to waste a lot of stuff.
We're very wasteful.
Yeah, we're a very wasteful society.
We are.
And there's people. You have more first-hand experience than me in terms of that, seeing that side of poverty, and you appreciate things that you have because you know there's people out there that
they have nothing.
They have nothing.
Yeah.
They have no access to get nothing.
Yeah.
And we can help. We waste stuff, like I would like this message to get across the world so that people can help. People can do something.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we spoke about this briefly, and I have an issue every Christmas where everyone is saying 10 cents a day to feed an African or something, and although it's not like that, and I would wish they could do this in a better way, but there are organizations out there that have these things. They play this nice music to get on your soft side to donate, but yet it
doesn't reach the people.
Yes, it's not getting to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah. And I see that in Uganda, and that's why it wasn't enough for me to just give money, because when I went in 2007, that was when my eyes were opened.
Yeah.
So in Uganda, you will see, oh my God, every NGO on the ground from every country.
Yeah.
And the only ones that I saw making a difference were the Danes. Yeah, there was a Danish charity.
Yeah.
And they were the only ones living with the people making a difference. Everybody else was living it in the hills, while all the poor that was the money was supposed to go to were living in the slums. And you could see it, and I was like, are you kidding me? Where's my money going into administration?
And people don't see that, administrative fees and whatnot, because I think the ratio was 90-1. Like 10% actually goes to the people, and 90% of
well,
the
you saw that in
administration.
Haiti. Remember in Haiti?
Yeah, that was a
when
big
Red
corruption.
Cross did their thing, and everything was gone to buy new computers instead of where it really meant to be. It's sad because, I think, I don't know how to say it the right way, but I think it's easier to give because then it washes away that part of you that feels that, I want to do something, but I don't know how to do something, right? And there are organizations out there that are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I'm a Rotary member. I joined Rotary Newmarket over a year ago, because I can see they make a difference.
Okay.
We've almost 98%, I think we're at 98% eradicated polio around the world.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Rotary will put their money where their mouth is. And so you will see a direct link.
Correlation between the money and where it's supposed to go. I wish
accountability.
Every organization could do that, but unfortunately, politics and other things.
And it's also corruption in government and what have you, right? Not here, but there.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's you want to do so much, but so I do what I can.
You know what worries me? they say, I've read this many times, they say Africa in general is one of the richest places on earth in terms of resources.
Resources, correct.
And in terms of resources and poverty,
Huge.
the scale
Huge.
is different, is way on
Way off.
the wrong side.
Yep.
And this is attributed to the fact that they have foreigners coming in and,
Yep.
using the resources to their benefit, and the people who actually
Yep.
live there are in poverty. That's
Yeah, you'll see that a lot.
Yeah.
Oil, like they finally found oil in Uganda, so that's part of it. They have.
So does that is it still the same? It doesn't translate to helping people at least? No.
Not
Same.
at all. Not at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there is the UN or anything?
There's the UN
Commonwealth
is there.
or something? Yeah.
But I don't know enough to say that they're not doing what they should be doing. But you'll see them in the trucks driving around town, right? Guns and what have you there. But you don't see the impact that they should be having, in my opinion.
Like I always see this.
And you'll talk to the locals, and they'll say the same thing.
And I think the locals and the situation has been, blanketed, covered by mainstream media. That's why we're here. We're trying to uncover, issues, that are affecting people. Because at the end of the day, no matter what race you are, we're still people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of unfair that some people are living on the backs of the people who should be, we should be all equal, But starving people and non-starving people in the same area, that's not right.
No.
And, this needs to change. And I'm glad that you're out there investing your personal time to try and make a difference.
Doing my best.
Yeah. And it doesn't, not only for Uganda, like the scale of,
Well,
women.
we see it here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Inequality.
Inequality.
But also with our northern people,
Yeah.
we see that. That drives me insane.
And I don't know where it is, like pay to women and men, they're different.
Oh, yeah.
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 Sports.
The glass ceiling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like, come on,
Women can break that glass ceiling in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But not on the corporate side still.
Yeah, there's still inequality.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So are you in contact with some of the girls over there still?
Like, so what happens is I do the 3 days.
Yeah.
And then I come home and I set up a Facebook group and I set up a WhatsApp group. Depends on how they can communicate.
Yeah.
Because some of them, they have imparted, I think it's 2 years ago, they started an internet tax.
What?
Yeah. Another cash grab. So they have their phone. They have to put minutes on it.
Right.
They have better system there because they could pay through their phone, like just like this, cash.
Yeah.
It's like because they don't have bank accounts there,
Okay.
right? So everything's under the pillow if they have money. Depends on how they communicate. But through Facebook, I can have a group and I do videos for them. So once a week, I do a video.
Yeah.
And then they have bi-weekly, they owe me practice photos. So I'll say to them, hey, here's some kind of, Sunny 16 rule, for instance. So I'll show them how to do that. Then I'll say, go out and do your own practice. Send me the photos, and I'll do the review for them.
Okay.
Once a month, I give them an assignment.
Yeah.
So that helps them keep learning the skills and improving. There's some girls who are, like right on it, keep on going, and other girls, you have to keep on pushing them because there's that thing about, well, it's free, so is there value to this? But if I was to charge for this, they can't afford it. Right. So I'm trying to show them that there's value in this.
True,
because
and you're taking your personal time, to do this.
And you're learning to be journalists. So learning how to tell stories with the camera, not just aperture, shutter, ISO, not just the basics. Learn how to tell the story, angles, perspective, all those things, so that you can sell your photos with your stories.
Okay, and they use Kenny's place.
Yeah. So they use Kenny's pays for the editing,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll use just like wherever they are in town.
Yeah.
Some of them already have jobs. Some of them are still in school.
Okay.
So they'll have computers, downloading, whatever.
So if you were to, let's say, partner with somebody for some other aspect, because you do the cameras, the photo tours, and everything, do you see a need or a market that you can bring somebody on board and help in some other way?
Help me in
No.
some other way to do this, or
Well, no, let's
help
say
the girls.
the girls, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's what I do is visiting journalists.
Mhm.
So I have a network of people who say to me, "Hey, I mean, I'm a journalist. I'm going to be in Uganda. Can I go and talk to the girls?" So I had one do that, and it was fantastic because we rented a boardroom.
Yeah.
She did a whole day with them where she taught them story, talked to them about what kind of stories are you telling and how are you pairing them up with your. Now she's not a photographer; she's a writer.
Right, okay.
So what we did was put Kenny in the room, and then he could pair it up with the journalism part.
Okay.
Because the whole thing is geared towards girls learning journalism or as journalists, helping them get jobs in that field. But if they can't take a photo that's not right,
No.
and if they can't take a photo that
Yeah.
accentuates the story,
Yeah.
that's
There's no story.
there's no story, and they're not going to get jobs.
True.
So those are the skills that we're always working on.
Okay.
Plus, also, we focus on how do you go and do an interview, right? What are you presenting yourself as? Because we all have to learn
Yeah.
that, and they're not necessarily taught that in school.
So the school system there.
It's a British system still.
Okay.
So
British is good. I grew up under the system. Really, really good. Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Again, paid though, right?
Yeah.
So there are free schools, government schools, but the education is very poor. So the people who go through that don't learn proper English. So you can tell the difference.
Okay.
So some of the girls that were in the course,
Yeah.
they all had good they all went through the paid system.
Right.
There was one or two that had gone through the government, and you can tell the difference. So
Why is it that way though? Like
because the government doesn't have to pay as much to a teacher in a free school, right?
We kind of take these things for granted.
We take them so for granted.
And living in a Western world over here, and something as education, which should be free,
which should be a right
basic
to
education.
everybody. Basic education
education
should be a right,
free, yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah, and these are the things that we overlook.
Yep.
And it is.
Because it's the start.
So, because photojournalism, they gotta learn to write, spell, compose a paragraph or something. Because you don't wanna take up something or an article, nice picture, but
you can't.
Yeah, the paragraph doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Like know that kind of thing. And like, would you reach out to, let's say, a few teachers? Like, what is it, like the Peace Corps? Who would? What organization do you think that would?
Oh, to come on board.
To come on board, yeah. To
That's
benefit.
something that I've been looking into
Yeah.
because I've even thought about pairing with another Rotary Club in Uganda, so that I have oversight on a constant basis. But the challenge is that I lose the possibility of being Triple F Photo Tours and not being Rotary, right?
Okay.
Number one. And number two, it would take a different mandate possibly.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Because eventually what I dream of is having a full-time school in Uganda.
That will be that'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You're already making some headways. I can see that.
Yeah.
And whatnot. I looked at the pictures that will be posted, and they look really good. I like them.
Thank you.
And just for the people who are watching this and looking to come on a tour and whatnot, what should they expect? Like,
well,
what's different about this?
We're not going to be your regular photo tour where you come to Uganda, we go, and all we're doing is safari and gorilla and chimp trekking and you're really going to get to meet the locals, see how they live. And I'm not talking about, when you go to Mexico and people take you through the bus tour of people's lives.
Yeah.
No. You're
So
going
you're
to
gonna
get
get
to see how,
real.
a farmer grows his crops and what it means for him to grow that coffee and where's it actually going.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Uganda does not have a strong coffee co-op, for instance,
Okay.
like they do in Ethiopia. In
Yeah.
Ethiopia,
And
every
they
farmer
grow a lot
is
of
rich.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that when Uganda sells, when you buy Kenyan coffee, you're actually buying Ugandan coffee?
So they rebranded and sell
They
it for more.
rebrand it because Kenya can afford to do it. Uganda can't.
So why is there such a divide in the same landmass?
Because they're just well, when you talk to a local, they'll tell you because the government just hasn't organized enough to help that farmer to get the next. There's a lot of people who are trying to do the right thing and get a coffee co-op organized, but farmers don't want to deal with other farmers. They don't trust each other. Instead of, they don't look at it as building each other up.
Yeah.
They're looking at it as competition, which unfortunate because in Ethiopia, they look at it as building each other up and they're all well off now.
Yeah.
That country has come so far.
Okay. So it's just a part mindset of the people.
It is.
And part.
And I think it's also what they've been through way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Tribal, a lot of the tribal stuff still is
Is it
there.
still there? Okay. Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
But they grow amazing crops. Just,
So coffee for one.
coffee,
What else?
tea,
Tea. Okay.
cotton.
Okay.
They make papyrus, paper.
Yeah.
Papyrus.
Mm-hmm.
They do green bananas, which matoke, it's called. It's their staple food. Mangoes. Oh my God.
You should try Caribbean mangoes. Not the mangoes from Mexico.
I'm going to tell you. So we're driving, going towards Murchison Falls,
Yeah.
and we passed by this stand,
Yeah.
and I'm like, mango! And so Fred, the driver, gets out and he goes, just give me 5,000 shillings. 5,000 shillings is like 150.
Canadian.
150 Canadian.
Yeah.
Comes back with like a bag of mangoes.
Okay.
And I said to him, okay, so I have to give you more money. He said, no. And he had change for me. I said, are you kidding me? One mango would be like almost $5. And he couldn't believe it. Oh, it was crazy. Yeah.
Have you ever had Caribbean mango?
I think so.
Not the Mexican mangoes you buy up here.
No.
It's way different.
Sweet and juicy.
Flavorful.
Yeah, I like Ugandan mangoes.
So up here, if you put mangoes in your house, you don't know there's mangoes in your house.
Yeah, because you can't smell it.
You can't smell it.
You can smell
Yeah, you
those.
can smell it.
Yeah.
Sun-ripe and beautiful,
Yeah.
nice mangoes.
Where can you buy them?
In the Caribbean.
You gotta bring some back next time.
You
don't get them here? You can't. They don't import them?
I've never seen those types of mangoes here. Most of the mangoes here, I don't know, they have some deal with Mexico.
And they have Indian.
Yeah,
mangoes.
but it's different. It's way different.
It's got that pungent smell.
Yeah,
right?
it's nice.
Yeah.
It's something
It's
like
Ugandan mangoes.
So I don't think the next time I'm going there'll be, but if I do, trust me.
Yeah.
It's something I'll
Put it
bring
in
back
your
for you. I'll put it in my suitcase, I hope the customs not watching this. and we can you can let you try a real mango.
Yeah, exactly.
From the Caribbean.
Yeah.
What else we need to touch on? Is there anything that you want to
So I
highlight?
am collecting used or new cameras.
Okay.
And what I cannot use, I have a friend up in Newmarket who either will buy them from me or trade off what I need.
Okay.
So I'm a Fuji girl through and through. I love Fuji.
Yeah.
I can't afford to take a Fuji for every girl.
Right.
So what we've settled on using is the Canon G series cameras. They're compact. They're good for learning, and they've got a good zoom on them.
Okay.
They've got good, it's a good, and it's got video.
Okay.
So when the first cohort that I did, I basically did anything and everything I could get my hands on. So we had very small mix of Nikon, Canon, Sony, whatever cameras. Last year I was able to buy enough so that I could get the G7s, G8s, G9s, and 12s.
Nice.
So this year I've settled on the G15, 16, and G1X.
Okay.
So Brian's helping me do that.
Okay.
Because what I'm hoping that every year, and as I go forth and set up a charity,
Yeah.
which I'm working on now. A lot of paperwork. I'm hoping that will then help the funds flow
Right.
deeper so that I can buy those bigger and more expensive cameras.
Give us, yeah.
Actually, I did a article for Fuji Love magazine, and I was so proud of the article. And the one thing people picked on me for was that I didn't train with Fuji cameras. I filmed the whole thing, photographed the whole thing, but because I didn't train with the girls, they were upset about it. I would love to. I just can't afford it. This is all out of pocket still.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what I can.
Okay. And, well, we're glad that you came here.
Thank you very
to
much
talk
for
with
the
us today.
opportunity.
And we're trying to help out and do what we can to help out.
Thank you.
You know, can you pass it? Yeah. So, one sec. You okay there?
Did you trip? Did he trip?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
So we made a stop by our local shop here today at Best Buy.
Oh,
and we
wow.
want to give this.
Oh my God! Thank
It's
you
not a
very
Fuji,
much.
but
No,
we,
that's okay.
you know,
Hey,
we
it's
sorry,
awesome.
you know,
Thank you
and
very much.
hopefully that can help some
It
girl.
will.
And
Absolutely. Thank you.
yes, and you know,
Thank you
we
very
love
much.
hearing nice stories, inspiring stories, and people trying to make a difference, and we're trying to make our difference too.
Yep.
You know, so that's from Scripted Table Talk Show.
Thank you very much.
So Triple F, that's our donation.
Thank you.
You know, just before we wrap up, you want to give anyone a shout out, say something.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
No, I really want to just thank my
Yeah.
family, my friends, people who've been supporting me and really believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I had a dream, and my husband calls my dreams the crazy dreams because I come up with crazy ideas all the time.
And that's
But you
why
never
you're
know
making-
when one is going to come.
Exactly,
right?
and that's why
And it finally did. So,
people make a difference.
yeah.
Start with a crazy dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it was regular, we probably wouldn't do it.
But that's it.
You know?
If this
Yeah.
was easy, everybody
Yeah,
would
everyone.
be doing it.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
You gotta think differently.
Yeah.
And dream differently.
Absolutely. So I'm just grateful to people like you who support me and give me a platform to talk about it and share. And
Yeah.
thank you very much on
Yeah.
behalf of the girls. Thank you.
Thank you for coming along.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
No problem. No problem.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up now, and I'm pretty sure. Pretty soon, this video is gonna be posted. We're gonna
Okay.
you're gonna send me some pictures,
Yeah.
and we're gonna put it up, and
Yep.
it's gonna be on the blog.
Okay.
And the link to your GoFundMe, and Kenny's page, and whoever.
Okay,
yeah,
sure,
You wanna put up there? We're gonna.
Okay, great.
And
And then let me know how I can support you.
All right.
Right? Yeah.
No problem. You're really supporting us for coming on the show and give us this inspiring story.
Thank you.
And that's all we need.
Thank you.
Yeah.